mute some stuff in the background. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are back with another one. It is the Authority Project. I am Brian S. Arnold here, and I'm here with my new good friend, Jason Priest. And he says he's going to help us optimize our health for peak performance. Is that right, Jason?
That is right, Brian. I'm excited for today's show, man. I'm excited to dive in.
Awesome. Well, we shall see. We shall see what he can do for us today on this incredible episode of the Authority Project.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, feast your eyes and tune your ears. It's that time again. We are live with another episode of The Authority Project. It's the video podcast streamed on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Periscope, where we talk to digital marketers, business coaches, and creators of all kinds on how they've built authority in their field and how you can mimic their success. Developing authority, building your audience, and attracting better clients to your own business. Now, without further ado, let's bring to the virtual stage your host, Brian S. Arnold.
All right, we're back with another one. It is Brian S. Arnold here, and this is the Authority Project. You are the project. We want to select some kind of amazing stuff, some slappage to your name so you can sell more of what you're great at. And Jason is in the house. How you doing, my friend?
I'm great, man. I'm great. I have a beautiful day here in Dallas, Texas, and about to leave for vacation in less than a week with 14 people in my family. So wow. I'm in a good place right now.
That's awesome, man. Awesome. Let's get right into it, man. Let's not delay. Tell us who you are, Jason, personally and then professionally.
For sure, man. So as most people know me as the dad bod health guy, right? Like that's who I am now, but it's not who I've always been. And obviously, and so I started my career. I come from a checkered upbringing. Grew up in a single parent household. Mother was an alcoholic. Mom died at 49 when I was 25. So no longer in my life. And I had to do a lot of fending for myself, right? Didn't have that manly figure in my life. Didn't have that presence for discipline, lacked a lot of that, and grew up in a small suburb town outside of Dallas. Got in a lot of trouble as a kid, and I have nothing to hide. I'm very transparent with my audience. And so the reason I tell you that is I needed a quick way out of that lifestyle. I was very involved with the wrong crowd. And so after I finished high school, I was taking some community college classes just to do something with myself, give myself a little bit of a direction, something to focus on other than the lifestyle that I was living, which wasn't good. That led me to becoming a registered nurse. All right. And I was on a fast path, got into the hospital, started working in the ICU as a registered nurse at 23 years old, which hindsight being 2020, I was way too young, way too immature to go into that kind of a setting. However, it taught me a lot. Taught me, I grew up quickly in that setting, seeing people die almost on a daily basis. And so I've been through the thick and the thin. I've literally done chest compressions on guys in their early 40s and late 40s, early 50s with family standing in the room, watching and hoping and praying that dad was going to pull through. Daughter, kids like that are my age now inside the room watching this. And so that got embedded into my memory, and that would later fuel some of my inspiration behind starting my company. So I tell you all that because after my mom died when I was 25, right? I started in the hospital at 23, got married not too long after that in 2005. When I was 25, my mom died a few months after my wedding, and my whole world came crashing down. I went through a dark depression, started drinking too much, started living off of fast food. I'm an ICU nurse at this time, knowing that this is not the right path for me. And I was in it. I was in a dark place. My wife and I moved off to a different town, a town that I didn't know anybody in. My wife is a pharmacist. We moved off to go to pharmacy school. And I just kept packing on the pounds. And before I knew it, I was 60 pounds overweight, living in a small town with nobody there that I knew, no camaraderie, no nothing. And I became sick and tired of being sick and tired. I had the low energy. I had the low back pain. I had the low libido. Everything was low except for my numbers, which was my weight and my blood pressure and my triglycerides and my cholesterol, everything that my doctor was saying, hey, man, you might want to get it together here. Yeah. We lived there for 4 years. And for 3.5 years, I wasted time. I didn't do anything with it. the last half of the year of our final year, the last 6 months, my wife is trying to encourage me. She sees me ballooning up, but she's so busy with school that there wasn't a whole lot of intervention, right? And there's not really a worse person to hear from than your spouse. When you've got the man boobs and the beer gut and like she's saying stuff, it doesn't really jive well, right?
Right.
And so I didn't really take action. Well, then I finally came to the conclusion that I was headed down another dark path. This time it wasn't drugs and crime and bad stuff. This time it was my health, and I had to get it together. And so the last 6 months we were there, my wife says, I know I've been telling you this, but you have access to like the nicest gym in this town. Most people pay like over $50. And at that time, this is back in the early 2000s, that's an expensive gym membership. So at that time, I'm like, $50. Yeah, go check it out. I went one day, right? I went one day, and this is insane, but because I would never do this now, but I went one day and I signed up for a spin class of all things. All right.
Yeah.
That was my turning point, man. And here we are. So I'm happy to unpack any of that, but that's my shortened version of my story. There's a lot more to it. I did the fad diets. I tried keto. I tried Whole30 this. I tried low carb. My initial attempt at exercise, being 60 pounds overweight with low back pain and bad knees at the time, was to start going and trying to do, 2-mile jogs. And that's not it. That's not the solution for anybody out there who's struggling with their weight. Anybody out there that is struggling to get consistent. Running is not the place you want to start, man. Like that constant pounding just made it worse. And you talk about demotivating, that was it. And so I went through the thick and thin, man, to get where I am here. And I'm happy to unpack any of that.
That's great stuff. So tell us what your daily routine is then, when for people to hear that.
Yeah. So now, mind you, okay, I'm in maintenance mode. All right. So when you're in maintenance mode, or versus when you're in weight loss or fat loss mode, or, let's call it body recomposition, right? If you're most of the guys that we work with, most men in general want to be strong, right? They don't want to be skinny fat. They want to be strong. They want to feel competent when they're called upon to help others. That's my mission, is being able to lead by example for my children so that they have somebody to look up to when it comes to health, laying the foundation early in their life so that those guys can grow up and become the most elite version of themselves. One big talk track that we use often with our company and what we do is leveraging health and using health as the vehicle to fulfill your potential as a man, to become the most elite version of yourself. Because without your health, you don't have much. You can build $1 million empire, and if you don't have your health, that's going to be an inheritance for somebody, because you're not going to be around very long. And you know that, I know that, anybody that's listening knows that. So when I talk about my routine, don't compare yourself. Those of you guys who are out there listening right now, or who will listen later on, do not compare yourself. Self-comparison is the biggest thief of joy. Don't compare yourself to me, because again, I'm in maintenance mode, and it took me a long time to get in maintenance mode. All right. So my weekly routine, I work out 4 times a week. I'm in the gym literally, and I kid you not, I'm in the gym for about 30, 35 minutes. All right. Majority of my cardiovascular exercise comes through walking. I do a couple of days of interval training. Most weeks I'll hit it at least once, some weeks twice. I eat very healthy during the week, and I eat burgers and drink beer every single weekend. I am not afraid to admit that. I eat all the foods that I want. I just don't eat them every day. And so my daily routine looks a little something like this. I get up. I'm not a 4 a.m. guy. One of my business partners, a 4 a.m. guy, to the gym. I'm not that guy. Okay. I have a 9, almost 10-month-old who still hasn't quite grasped the sleeping concept yet. Yeah. So I'm usually getting up about 6:15 these days. And here's what I do, man. Like this sets me up for a powerful day. All right. And those of you guys who are listening, if you don't have some kind of a morning routine, and this is not some huge, long, hour-long structure that you got to add to your life, something else to overwhelm you, something else to frustrate you. This is restructuring your day so that you can start to be intentional about your actions. You can start to be proactive instead of reactive, and become the dominant force that you want to become. And so here's the thing. All right. I get up, I go start our coffee pot. I don't touch my phone. The only reason I touch my phone is to turn off my alarm. I very rarely hear my alarm, but just to make sure that it doesn't wake up my wife or my kids. Okay. Turn off the alarm. I head to the kitchen, make my coffee. The very first thing I do is document the top 6 things. It's ingrained in my mind from old app that I used to use. The top 6 things that I'm grateful for. I write those down on paper. All right. Next is I do about a 13-minute meditation. It took me a while to build up to the 13-minute meditation. I started with some 5 and 10 minutes. I found one that I really love. That's a 6-phase guided meditation. It's 13 minutes. After that, I do a little bit of a brain dump, just a daily journal, 3, 4, 5 things that just on my mind, nothing specific, just what's on my mind at that time. And then I write the 3 to 5 things that I would love to get accomplished for that day. And then I'm going to do my darndest to get accomplished for that day. After that, I read 10 pages of a personal development or growth book to get my mind ready for the day. My whole routine is about 30 minutes, but it took me a while to build up to that. It's very structured. And that is what sets me up for a proactive day. Notice I didn't say anything about my phone there. I didn't say anything about scrolling social media, opening emails, none of that nonsense. Now, here's where the magic happens with that. We are all addicted to our phones. There's no, that's not a secret, right? If you can prevent yourself from doing that for the first part of your day, you're telling your subconscious mind, you're the one that's in control of your day. All right. You're telling your subconscious, I'm going to be proactive. I can look at that nonsense later. You're going to see something political. You're going to see something, negativity gets clicks, right? And that's all that we are fed through social media. You're going to see something on Facebook that triggers you or an email that rubs you a little bit wrong. Why not save that stuff later so that you can protect the fragile space that is 6 inches between your ears and become intentional about the way that you start your day, all right? Yeah. After that, help the wife out, get the kids going. In terms of nutrition, I follow a modified version of intermittent fasting and have been for 10 plus years. My body weight, my body fat percentage don't move much. And I kid you not, I drink beer every single weekend. Like you go to my Instagram, you're going to see my burger pics, my beer pics. Like I'm very much a lifestyle guy. Fitness is not my obsession. It's not my passion. Okay. It's a non-negotiable priority in my life because I know that it's requirement for me to be able to be the man that I am today and continue to work on becoming the most elite version of Jason Priest. All right. My nutrition is on point. Let's say Sunday afternoon, all the way through Friday afternoon, 5 days of dialed in. When I'm saying that's no sugar, that's very, very healthy foods. That's lots of healthy fats, eggs, salmon, olive oil, lots of avocado, nuts, very nutrient dense foods so that I can fuel my body for performance. I don't count calories. I don't count macros. I go strictly off the way that I feel. That's what we teach, fueling your body for performance. No guy wants to count calories, macros for the rest of your life. You don't want to use MyFitnessPal for the rest of your life. We teach sustainability. All right. Yeah. And I know it hits home for some people. I talked to a guy the other day. He's like, you nailed it on the head. That's what I'm doing. I'm like, dude, I get it. I used to be in your shoes. Okay. There's an easier way. And when you start to focus on what we preach, all right, this is what we teach inside of our programs are 4 core pillars of health. All right. That's sleep, stress management, nutrition, and fitness. What I just told you about my daily routine, and then let me just tell you this. Let me throw this in and then I'll add to it. I work out normally around noon, okay? Between noon and 1. My first meal of the day does not come till 2 p.m., but I do a modified version of intermittent fasting, which includes some coffee with coconut oil, a couple little nuances on the front of the day to help extend my fast. My eating window is between 2 and 7 p.m. It's a 5-hour eating window, and I eat 4 times in that 5-hour window. My body has been trained to do this. This is not something you can just start doing overnight. It's something that you have to work up to. And so what we teach is, a less narrow window and so on and so forth. But when I talk about the 4 core pillars, for all the listeners out there who are listening now or listening down the road, if you can take a step back and stop fixating on the diet and the exercise, that's what we're driven to believe. You go to the doctor, what do they tell you? Hey, you're a little bit overweight. Oh, eat less, exercise more. They don't spend time talking to you about the true importance of overall well-being, right? We don't hear anything about sleep. We don't hear anything about stress management. I'm going to tell you, everybody out there listening has heard the saying, you can't outwork a bad diet. There's nobody that hasn't heard that. Yeah. Well, I'm here to tell you that you can't outwork hormones either. And when you're not prioritizing sleep, you don't have your sleep optimized. When you're not prioritizing stress management, you don't have something in your life that you're committing time to you, your headspace, not flying by the seat of your pants and feeling like you got to pull out your hair. Sorry, Brian, by the Thursday, you don't need to pull out your hair. But you get my point. Most men don't have a plan in place. They don't have a system. What we teach is systemizing your health habits so that you can put this thing on autopilot. We want every guy to become the most elite version of themselves. If you're going to do that, you can't be thinking and frustrated and overwhelmed with your health all the time. This thing has to become a system, has to become autopilot for you like clockwork. All right. Mm-hmm. So when I talk about the 4 core pillars, this is what I do. I go to bed every night I'm asleep most nights by 10 o'clock. I wake up at 6. That's 8 hours a night. Okay. Our bodies are supposed to sleep somewhere between 7 and 9 hours a night.
Right.
If you do the math, that's 1/3 of your life that's supposed to be spent sleeping. All of this nonsense we hear, especially in the entrepreneurial space. Oh, just go ahead and sleep when you die. You can get by with 5 hours, 6 hours. You got all this business work. Just sleep when you die. You know what? You're going to die a lot earlier if you don't make sleep a priority right now. So number 1 is getting to bed early and stick to a strict sleep schedule. Number 2 is carving out time in your day for stress management. For me, that's gratitude journal. That's meditation. That's walks in nature. After I do my gym workout, I come home and I go on a walk outside, get a little bit of vitamin D, get a little bit of sunlight in my life, get some fresh air, not spend time on social media detox. Another one, right? There's a lot of things that you can do to manage your stress, but it's got to be consistent. You can't wait till Thursday or Friday when everything is out of control and you're like, where's that gratitude journal? God, I got to meditate. Like, that's not it. Okay. Those first 2 pillars aren't talked about. Sleep is the number 1 weight loss pill that nobody wants to talk about. It's just not emphasized enough. And when you get those 2 things aligned with the man that you want to become or the person that you want to become, right? If those are aligned with who you want to become, the most elite version, the healthiest version of yourself, that's where the magic happens, man. I'm telling you, we don't make it any more complex than that. You prioritize sleep. You make stress management a priority. You follow our nutrition protocol. We teach a couple different types of intermittent fasting. That's not the end all be all. There's 1,000,001 ways to go about it when it comes to nutrition. If you're going to follow a diet out there, I would steer you towards the Mediterranean diet. It's got a lot of great nutrients in it, a lot of great lean protein, healthy fats, complex carbohydrate sources. Steer clear of the American diet. There's a reason the acronym for that is SAD. The standard American diet. We're in a sad place right now in terms of our country, right? Almost 43% obesity rate. All right. And then get active, right? Do something daily to be active. If you're not doing something daily, then you got to step it up in the gym. That's where resistance training, interval training, some of that stuff can come in that cuts out the requirement for daily activity. I work out 4 days a week. My wife and I and the kids will sometimes do something active on the weekend, but like it might be just chilling in the backyard. That's not very active. So for me, I prioritize that time during the week so that I can crank out results and then chill on the weekend and spend time with family. I'm a family guy, man. Like I don't live in the gym. You don't need to live in the gym. I literally am there for 30 to 40 minutes a day, and that's it. So that's the recipe, my man. I'm happy to answer any questions that you got. I laid it all out there for you.
Yeah, I love it.
Most people aren't talking about this, and that's what makes our company unique. That's what makes our system unique, is that when you talk about sleep optimization and stress management and teaching men, that's who we coach, but and mentor, but teaching people in general to systemize their health habits so that it just becomes natural. You don't want these things to be something that's this long, drawn-out process of having to think, well, what am I going to eat next? Or when am I going to work out? Or, geez, I'm so stressed out. What am I going to do about it? Or, geez, I'm going to stay up and watch an hour extra of Netflix tonight. Probably only going to get 5.5 hours, but I'm going to watch this Dave Chappelle special anyway, right? Save that crap for the weekend, man. And so that's the recipe.
I love it. So my first question, I think a lot of people are, man, this is crazy. So the biggest thing is about food, about what we consume, right? What we consume, because I think a lot of people are confused about what to eat because there's so many. Dude, I saw an article the other day where there's pros and cons about consuming milk. There's a lot of pros, there's a lot of cons, and they had good. It's good for if you it just depends on what you really at the point is what do you believe basically.
Sure.
So it's like, what is it about what you eat? Does it depend on who you are? Are there absolute things that that this is good for you and this is not?
That's a great question. All right. The number one piece of advice that I have, and I'll just put it all out there. I have a very bad sugar addiction when I allow it to happen. I've developed long-term discipline in this category where I don't let it become an issue. I only allow myself to have sugar Friday night or Saturday night. Like, it doesn't come into my life other than those 2 days. But you better believe I'm going to crush some ice cream, or I'm going ham on whatever it is. All right.
Yeah.
But that's not for most people. Most people they haven't developed that long-term discipline. And so for me, I can just shut it down. Just like with beer, like Sunday night, it doesn't carry over into the week at all for me. It is very, very strict. All right. So to answer your question, all right, number one is watch out for the sugar. Start working sugar out of your life and start reading labels. Become more informed about the foods that you're putting into your body. Spend more time on the perimeter of the grocery store and less time on the aisles. There's some exceptions, like my coffee, the whole grain bread that I buy for my kids, quinoa, black rice, some of the stuff we eat as our healthy, nutrient-dense carbohydrate sources. Some of that stuff comes from the aisle. But for the most part, your nutrient-dense foods are going to be found on the perimeter of the grocery store. Now, to answer your question about, what's good and what's not, that science is amazing for a lot of things, right? With technology and science, we're ever evolving. And so you've got these blood tests out there to test for, what types of foods you should be eating, or, and this is not necessarily food allergies. If you have a food allergy, avoid that damn food, right? But the thing is, when it comes to this, is like blood type and eating these types of ways, like we've never needed that, right? We've never needed this stuff to really be healthy. We know what works. It's tried and true. And there's 1,000,001 ways to skin a cat. Now, are there some strategic ways to go about it that can make it simpler and make it quicker? Absolutely. I'm not going to deny that. And I think what we do works really well. And there's a lot of people in our space that are great people. But our space, and we're trying to carve out our own niche per se, because we don't buy into the flooded fitness space that's all about 6 weeks to six-pack abs. We just don't. We are anti that movement. We don't agree with keto. We don't agree with fad diets. We don't agree with anything that's not sustainable, because the majority of people out there are going to lose 50 only to gain 60 back. And that is way worse for your body than just being overweight that entire time. It's sad, but it sets people up for failure. We teach lifestyle, we teach sustainability, and we teach long-term discipline, building a system of health habits into your life. All right. So we are very anti the gimmicky stuff that you see all over Facebook and Instagram ads. Hey, you want abs like me? Get my $497 course. It's going to take you 6 weeks and you're going to be there. Like, that's nonsense. And everybody knows it, or everybody who reads it knows it's nonsense, and they still make sales off of it. And we run our business with honesty and integrity, and we're straight shooters. We're going to tell you like it is. All right. And so to answer your question about the whole food, like, what's healthy and what's not, I would highly encourage everybody that's listening to this right now to start becoming more informed about your foods. There's a lot of false advertising, a lot of bad marketing. I use this example a lot, but let's use Cliff Bar, for example. Nothing against Cliff Bar, great company, does very, very well. But you look at the side of that box and you're like, oh, they're hiking up a mountain. Looks like an active thing. Looks like it'd be healthy. Well, if you're hiking up a mountain, have a Cliff Bar. But if you're not, that's not something you eat when you live in a sedentary lifestyle behind your desk. When you flip it over and it's got, I'm throwing out numbers, these are arbitrary, 15 grams of added sugar and 40 grams of carbs for one bar. Like, that's not a good snack, And so sugar is evil, and it's in all of our foods. You got to become more informed about what you're putting into your body. Okay. In addition to that, here's a basic general rule of thumb. Okay. When you're talking about wanting to buy better groceries for yourself, better produce, better meats, whatever, when you start to fuel your body with real nutrients, when you start to fuel your body with high quality foods, you're going to tell a drastic difference in your health. I'm going to tell you in the way that you feel. It's not an overnight thing. It's something that you have to start to invest in yourself a little bit. And here's the thing is, like, so many people want to use the terminology sacrifice. Well, I'm going to sacrifice a Friday night, Friday night going out because I got to work on my business. You're making an investment into your future. The same thing goes with your health, right? Mm-hmm. If you're going to buy better produce, or you're going to buy better meat, you're going to buy a better quality food. Say you're going to buy the organic eggs versus the bottom end eggs where they're literally placed in cages right next to each other. That's the most high stress thing you could do. Then you're making an investment in your future. You're extending your life on the front end with health, wellness, and prevention, instead of having to pay for it on the back end with expensive medical bills, treatments, medications, chronic conditions, in a world of hurt, right? Those guys out there that are listening right now, guys and girls, I say guys in general, right. What you have to realize is this: like, there is no easy life. And Brian, I'm sure you can agree. Like, your life is not easy. Nobody's life is easy.
No.
And I'm reading Relentless right now by Tim Grover, and I love the line of become comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, like I've lived both sides of this, the fat life and the fit life. Okay. The fat life is hard. It sucks. Like you don't have energy. You feel like crap all the time. You can't keep up with your kids. You can't go help your buddy move because your knees and back hurt. You can't do much. You don't have quality of life, right? Mm-hmm. I've also lived the fit life. It's hard getting to the gym and staying motivated and convincing myself to do the things I need to do is also hard. But I would rather go sweat my butt off in the gym a few days a week and stay active and prioritize the few simple things that I've told you about and feel like a 25-year-old inside of a 42-year-old's body. I round up. I'm only 41. But inside of a 42-year-old man's body than the other side, because I've lived both sides. And so become more informed about the foods that you're putting in your body. Read labels. Don't buy into the false advertising nonsense. And when you shop the perimeter of the store, you're buying real whole foods. That's it. You're putting foods into your body that are the closest thing to fresh as you can get. Now, we can break down the whole organic thing versus non-organic. And if you want to unpack, I'm happy to go there. But this is the thing is like, as a society, we're failing our youth because they don't learn this stuff. Your doctor doesn't learn this stuff. Your doctor is so uninformed about nutrition that it's not funny. It's sad. They get one course on nutrition. They're there to treat disease, not encourage prevention. And if you want prevention and you don't want to go down the long, dark path of medical bills racking up because you're on all these medications and you need a CPAP now and you got type 2 diabetes, so now you need a blood sugar monitor, all these things that are going to happen to you if you don't get it together, that's where you got to choose your hard wisely. Which discomfort do you want? Do you want the fit life or do you want the fat life? That's the thing you got to decide.
Awesome. Awesome. This is just the passion is just overflowing with you, my friend.
Like I come from the heart, man. Like I really do. And look, when you were pumping on a chest in ICU with little Timmy, who's 8 years old, standing there hoping and praying dad's gonna make it. Yeah. Like I think about myself in those shoes, man. Like my son is 6 and I have a 10-month-old. If I'm myself right now, like the youngest guy that I ever remember that we did a open heart surgery on was 38. He had a double bypass at 38. Within 1 week, he was back up there bragging about the McDonald's that he was eating and the cigarettes that he was smoking. Was not a big enough wake-up call for him. But when you're talking about guys that are in their early 40s, back then I was 25, 23, doing CPR on these guys, saving their life or trying to save their lives from massive heart attacks, all because they chose to ignore it. They chose to kick the can. And those families are in there potentially without a dad for the rest of their lives. That pains me, man. And like when I think about my own kids and me being in that situation, I have the moral and ethical obligation to make my health a priority so that they don't have to go through that.
Awesome. I have a lot of questions, but we're up against it really.
It's all good, man. I laid it out there for you.
We're gonna have to have you back on the show for sure, because I just love everything that you're saying here.
Sure.
So let me ask you this: what's your legacy impact you want to leave with the world at large? How do you want to change the world when it's all said and done?
You know, my original mission was to change the lives of 1 million men, and I realize that's a lofty goal. And it's not a goal that I'm completely against at this point, but I have shifted my focus about making more than a minimal impact, because with those kind of numbers, can you really make the massive impact that I want to make in guys' lives, right? We had a $10 a month subscription program for a while. And the goal at that time was let's pump as many guys into that community as we can, blow this thing up and create like a thriving brotherhood of all these guys that are in there and they're just really working, right? I can't make the impact that I want to make with those kind of numbers. Yeah. And so my shift has come more towards making a positive impact in at least one person's day every day that I walk the face of this earth. I truly believe, and I'm not going to go religious, right? I've lived both sides of the religion side too. I have a very strong relationship with God and my higher power now. I truly believe that I was put on this planet Earth to lead by example and show other men, teach other men how to make health simple so that they can fulfill their potential as a man. I truly believe that. I wake up every day with passion, with fire, with fuel to go do that. And so it's not necessarily a numbers thing for me. It's about teaching as many men as I possibly can and our company and becoming a leader when it comes to sustainability, right? We're carving out the sustainability niche instead of the 6-week to 6-pack ab niche. We are very much lifestyle, if you couldn't pick that up by now. I want guys to be able to live, enjoy life, eat their burger and drink their beer if that's their thing, but still be healthy and still realize that it doesn't have to be overwhelming.
Amazing, man. I have one last question I ask this of all of my guests. It goes something like this. There are people right now who are watching, listening later, and they have similar goals, maybe similar interests, and they want to be, do what you're doing. They want to help other people with their fitness, right? There's a lot of people out there. Can you tell them in your own words, and I'll put you front and center, how they can become an authority in this space?
Absolutely, man. So for those of you guys who are out there listening right now, if you want to become an authority in the health, wellness, fitness space, or any space for that matter, you have to be aligned with your true core values, right? At the end of the day, if you want to make the impact that you're capable of making, you need to identify the few things that you're most passionate about and just start testing the water. See how that message resonates with people. Because the 4 pillars that we pound the table on, this wasn't just some magical formula. This took time for us to identify, like, we're going to be the guys that stand out for this very reason, because we're going to teach a lifestyle of sustainability. So for those of you guys that are out there that are yearning to make an impact, you know that you've got the superpower out there to touch people's lives. Become aligned with who you truly want to be. Create that vision for yourself 3 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road, and start to grow into that person. Start performing today like you're already in that role, and good things are going to happen for you. The other side of that is this is a very, very, very challenging journey. For any of you guys that are entrepreneurs out there, you're just getting started. Maybe you're in year 1, year 2, and you know that it's a constant grind. I'm going to tell you that it's going to feel like nothing but walking through a foggy tunnel. And that's just the way that it is. You just have to keep showing up, keep busting your butt towards your mission, towards your vision, and good things are going to happen for you, man. I know that the book that I'm reading right now by Tim Grover, Relentless, I heard an interview on one of my favorite podcasts not long ago with him saying that showing up is not more than half the battle. That's a weak mentality. I'm going to tell you right now, in the entrepreneurial space, showing up and adding value to the world on a day-to-day basis. And sometimes you're not going to feel like you want to do it. Get up, push past that feeling, and good things are going to happen for you.
Extraordinary, man. That was amazing. Amazing stuff, man. People, get a hold of this guy. Where can they find you after the show, Jason?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So you can hit me up on any social media. Instagram is @dadbodhealth. You can go to our website, dadbodhealth.com. If you go to the website, dadbodhealth.com, we've got, you can sign up for our free training, our free mini course. If I'm you, I'd go grab that mini course. That's where we go deep on strategies and unpack what I talked about today at a little bit deeper level. And then we also have if you're a dude out there, we also have a free men's group that you can come. We do weekly live streams every week inside the group. And that is join.discussionswithdadsgroup.com. You don't have to be a dad. You can be a dude. Just come join us over there if you want this kind of health content. Let me just add this one last thing, is that when it comes to health, sometimes the biggest battle that you're faced with is keeping this kind of content on the forefront of your mind. If you drift off and you staying plugged in to health content, it's when you're going to start to catch yourself like slipping and getting further away from your goal. Keep this kind of content at the forefront of your mind so that you stay inspired, you stay motivated, and you gain the knowledge that you need to make your path to a better version of you a much simpler one.
Great stuff, man. That's amazing. People, get again. This so much content, so much value. Get a hold of this guy. Get a hold of this guy for real. Dadbodhealth.com. I want to ask you, where in the heck did you get that name? How did that name come about?
Yeah, so great question. So I knew that when we started our business, I wanted something catchy, and at the time, the dad bod word was real craze, right? Still, people are still talking about it. It's not as big of a craze now as when you see all these people with comorbidities, the obese population impacted by this pandemic, right? Like it's not a cute, cuddly thing anymore. But what I wanted to do is really have something that was catchy, but also a way for guys to realize that, like, that logo that you see there, right? That logo is meant to portray something, right? The logo is you can have the look of that guy. Now, I don't look like that guy, but if you want that and you're committed enough, you can have your cake and eat it too. You can have your burger and your beer, and you can have that as well. You just have to have the right strategies in place. And so I wanted to make it about health, not just about fitness. As you well know, we're all about optimizing your health for peak performance. I hate the word holistic because it sounds very hippie-ish, and nothing against hippies, but like, for me, it's the whole body, man. Like, it's not just about the gym. So many people get fixated on that. And I wanted to give guys a place where they could go and say, you know what? I don't care just about weight. Like, I want to feel good. I want to look good. I want to sleep better. I want to manage my stress, and I want to be there long-term for my family. And so that was really where the Dad Bod Health name came into play.
Awesome. Great stuff, man. Hey, people, get a hold of this guy. I'm going to keep on saying that. Get a hold of this guy, Jason Priest. Get over there to dadbodhealth.com and start optimizing your health for peak performance. It's very critical and something that you really can't ignore long-term. All right. So start now. That's all I got to say.
Absolutely, dude. No reason to wait. Why wait? Like, your journey is never ending. You might as well start today. Get active, eat, make better choices. Like, do something for your body, not to your body, starting today.
Awesome. Awesome stuff. People, as I always tell you, remember, build it, share it, and they will come. We'll see you next time. We're out of here.
And that's a wrap for this episode of The Authority Project. Thanks so much for tuning in. And if you like what you heard, we want to hear from you. Subscribe, rate, and give an honest review. Share and tell your friends so they can hear too. And for even more authority-building tactics, be sure to sign up at theauthorityletter.com. Get free weekly content and ongoing digital product giveaways to help you on your entrepreneurial journey. We certainly hope you got a key takeaway, or maybe an aha moment from today's broadcast. Just remember, it's your authority. Build it, share it, and they will come. Until next time.